Hey folks, welcome back to the channel. Divorce is supposed to end the fighting, but for some people, it's just the pregame warm-up. A father agreed in court to sign his children's passport documents and spent the next several weeks finding new and creative ways not to do it. What should have been a routine process turned into a standoff featuring ignored messages, last-minute demands for Venmo payments, and a bizarre refusal to provide a copy of his ID. Let's see how long the court tolerates this nonsense.
All right. Do we know if Mr. Winchester is aware of the proceeding?
He is. I just spoke with opposing counsel's office about 8 minutes ago, and he was in their office.
Okay, so are we to wait for Mr. Dower?
I don't know. I talked with his assistant Nancy, who said that he was in another county for an emergency motion, and we talked about resolving this, and she said, we'll see what happens. And so then I spoke with her again, and apparently Mr. Dower cannot be here at all because of that other hearing. And I hate doing this, to your honor. I hate these emergency motions, but we're down to the wire at this point.
Is this something you feel can be taken up without Mr. Dower being present?
I do, your honor.
All right, let's go on the record. This is in the District Court of Butler County, Kansas. Case is entitled "In the Matter of the Marriage of Christine Marie Winchester and Clinton Robert Winchester," case number 22 DM 374. Would counsel announce appearance, please?
May it please the court, Christine Winchester appears via Zoom, and by and through counsel Jennifer Goheen, who also appears via Zoom.
All right, we're set at this time on a petitioner's ex parte emergency motion. Ms. Goheen, I know we were just discussing this, but for purposes of the record, if you could outline what brings us here today.
Sure, your honor. When my client originally messaged the respondent in this case, Clinton Winchester, on January 9th, regarding her request to take the minor children out of the country for a cruise to Cozumel, Costa Maya, and Roatan, and she provided the dates and location, stating this was to celebrate the minor children's birthdays and the minor child's graduation in May of 2025. On January 11th, he messaged her and said, "Right now, you are possibly facing numerous contempt charges. I do not feel they need to be leaving the country with you, so no." I filed a motion January 14th, 2025 on my client's behalf to acquire passports for the minor children. We came before this court on January 24th, 2025. Opposing counsel represented that his client agreed to execute the necessary documents for the petitioner to acquire the passports in order for them to participate in the petitioner's planned cruise from March 14th, 2025 to March 23rd. And you ordered that happen. I then filed a notice of submission on January 30th, 2025 by Rule 170. On February 13th, respondent's counsel provided his consent to that order. Pursuant to that order, my client sent the document entitled Statement of Consent Issuance of a U.S. Passport to a Child via certified mail to the respondent. She advised him via the parenting app that he needed to fill out his portion in front of the notary. She included an extra copy in case there were errors. She included the envelope, I said the document, but she included the envelope that needed to be sent back. She also advised him to read the instructions. On February 19th, my client sent a message stating that he should have received the documents the prior day necessary for the children's passports. She asked to let him know when they were in the mail. On the 20th, the respondent sent her a message, and this is all via the parenting app, and I've included these messages as exhibits. This isn't happening.
Ms. Goheen?
Yes.
I've got the Gilliland Green LLC in the waiting room. Is that Mr.
May
Dower?
be him. I don't know.
Okay.
Yes, that should be them.
It's right here.
Okay,
It's,
no, I'm walking back to my office.
okay.
So remind me, when did we send that thing
Here.
back there?
Hello.
Good
Hi,
afternoon.
Judge Crum. Tad just showed up, and if you don't mind waiting, he's gonna log in real quick. He didn't know about this hearing, apparently. Can you hear me, Your
Miss
Honor?
England.
Yes,
Hello, Miss Goheen. Okay, so do you mind waiting for Tad, Your Honor, who's logging in now?
okay, that's fine. I've got another docket I need to tend to at 2:30, so.
Okay. All right, well, I will wait till he shows up and then I'll log off. How's that?
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Miss England used to be my law partner over here until she left me.
Oh.
Let's not get started on that.
I'm still bitter.
And this is my first domestic case, Jennifer,
Well, welcome.
and my last. Welcome. Oh, I see his name. There he is.
There he is.
I'm gonna log off. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much.
Bye,
Mr.
Tracy.
Dower, can you hear me?
Hear me, Judge?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can.
All right. This is an emergency motion that petitioner has filed regarding the passports. Are you up to speed on what's going on, Mr. Dower?
I am literally walking in the door, so I'm kind of getting it from about 3 different angles, but my understanding is my client received the requisite forms last Friday. On Monday morning, he went and got it signed and notarized and returned it to her. He's now being advised that he's required to give her a copy of his driver's license to finish this process. He talked to the passport office. They say, you don't need to give it to her. You just give it to us and we can have it directly, which he's more than willing to do. He's also willing to meet her someplace over there. He just doesn't want to give a copy of his driver's license. And again, I'm not as well prepared as I'd like to be. I think your order was he needed to sign the document, sign the application, which he did. He's done those things. This additional requirement of her having his driver's license is not something that I think was contemplated by the court or the order, certainly not me. But so I'm sorry. I'm just kind of walking in cold.
And I'm unaware of what the issue is, what the necessity for the driver's license. Ms. Goheen, if you can expound upon that, please.
Yes, Your Honor. I looked at the form because we've been going back and forth regarding this. I looked at the form and the form requires you have to attach, and it says it in 2 places on the form, the driver's license, a photo of the driver's license, a photocopy, front and back to the form. And as we all know, the passport office is very particular because the information my client is getting is different from that of Mr. Winchester. So I personally looked at the form, and as an officer of the court, I can tell you that the form says you have to attach these documents to the form. So I will tell you, and if you look at all these messages, my client tells him at least 3 times, she's got to have this form. He refuses to do it. Actually, she gets it back. He hasn't done it. She gets the form back, but he hasn't attached the driver's license photocopy front and back. So my client messages him and says, hey, you have to have this form or this driver's license photocopy front and back. Now, I'll tell you, Judge, these parties were married for 20 years. I have his social security number. I have his birth date. She's got his last 3 driver's license in her possession, knows his social security number, knows his birth date in this particular case. So I don't know what information he's worried about. Yet my client offered, he stated to her, you have to show up. This is what he states on the 20. Well, if I can go back, Judge. What happened is this actually all started beginning of January. Then I filed my motion. They said, we'll execute the documents necessary. I filed the submission. Opposing counsel gives his consent to the order on the 13th. So on the 14th, pursuant to the court order, because we know we have to have your court order signed before anything's going to happen in this case, she sent the document. She advised him of this via the app, told him you have to fill out your portion, sent extra copies, sent the envelope, told him make sure you read those instructions on the first page so that you make sure everything is done right. She sends another message to him on the 19th saying, you should have received these. Will you let me know when you put them in the mail? He says, February 20th, you've had all this time for me to do it. You picked a week that I'm out of town. The judge granted permission to get the passports. I figured that's all you needed was the judge's order. My client responds, when are you going to be back in town? Have you read the court order? February 20th, he says, I'm not certain. It's going to be the following week. He says his next visitation is March 2nd. He's not going to be able to get the kids because he and his family are going on a cruise. And then he asks her to Venmo the fees for getting the documents notarized. My client responds saying, send it back as soon as possible. On the 24th, my client then asks him, did you get the documents notarized? He says, not yet. I didn't get a reply about Venmo for fees. She responds, Clinton, you're hurting the kids. Just please get it done and sent in the mail today. He responds, I'm not paying for your vacation. Venmo me $40 for my fees and gas. My client says, you're not paying for the vacation. I am. It's court ordered that you sign the documents. He says, which I did, didn't say I had to pay the fees and mailing costs. My client asked, did you do it in front of the notary and what fees were incurred as she already paid for the passport? He says there's a mailing fee that's $10.85. My client asked, did you make copies of your driver's license and ask for his Venmo so she can pay him $25 for the notary and this mailing cost? Even though she didn't think this was fair, she wanted to do what was best for the kids. She again advised him, make sure you have a front and back copy of your driver's license, the one that you use to show the notary. He advised, you don't care about the kids having time to be with me and have a life with me, and you think your narcissistic guilt trips about this cruise is best for the kids is going to make me care. I could care less. Then he provided his Venmo. My client responded, she sent the money and asked that he get the documents mailed out that day, as well as another reminder to include a copy of his license front and back. On February 25th, my client messages him and says, when did you get this sent out? He did not respond. On the 26th, my client messages the respondent because she now has the documents. Why did you not send a copy of the driver's license front and back? And told him it was necessary and was included on the form, which it is on the front. And it is on the back, and it says you have to attach this. He asked her, or she asked him to email it to her, the photocopy of his driver's license. On the same date, she messaged him again saying, you have to submit this clear photocopy of the front and back of the ID that you presented to the notary, and said it's on the back as well. On the 27th of February, the respondent messages the petitioner asking where he could mail a copy of his license, as he did not want her to have his personal information. So this is days after this all started. My client says this has to go with the applications and they all need to go together. The respondent told her to send him the applications and he would send them in, as he did not want her to have his personal information. My client advises him, I don't have time to do this and I need to overnight it by tomorrow. She asked what personal information he thought was on his driver's license that he was concerned about. She advised that she did not care about his personal information, but she needed these this for these applications. He responds and says he called the passport office and he could send in his copy of the ID with the applications. And my client had until 2 p.m. that day to drop off the applications at his attorney's office, and he would be there within an hour. He said, I'm leaving town at 4 p.m. and you need to have this here by 2 p.m. and it's your fault you waited till the last minute. My client advises him, I can't take off work early and would not make it to Hutch by 4 p.m. He advised that he could have his attorney email the copy of the license to me, and she'll drop the envelopes to me, and our office would seal them out and mail them out. So then I only have a copy of the driver's license. He advised that he would not give his information to the petitioner or to me. I think I put in there the respondent, but or to me as counsel. He falsely alleged she had taken out loans and credit cards in his name without his consent, which was not even part of the pretrial in this case. My client informs him that he failed to follow the court orders. On the 27th, I contact respondent's counsel's office. I say, this is the issue. Here's the correspondence between the two. I'm going to have to file an emergency motion and ask for fees. On the 28th, I get a response from respondent's counsel asking where the documents need to be sent to. And I said, he can email them this directly to the petitioner. Thereafter, I was informed he did not want her to have the information. I believe respondent's counsel's office was trying to assist in getting this done, but the problem is that Mr. Winchester is causing a problem in this particular case. This could be sent to me. And again, I have all of his personal information. This could be sent to me and I could send out the necessary documents, but he's refusing to do that. So then they want us to give all the documents to them. Now, my client's an Andover judge. This needed to be done like yesterday, and we're going back and forth over this craziness to a man that she was married to for 20 years, whose information she has. He has hers, we have his. So I do not understand what the problem is. I don't understand it. This already needed to be done. I am fine if they want to email the driver's license information to me, the photocopy, and then I'll have my client rush over here to get this in the mail so that we can get it done today. I just simply, this is the nonsense we've been dealing with in this case since the beginning. So I'm asking for attorney fees, Judge, of $750 because I had to file this motion. And I want him to be fined $200 for every hour he fails to get this photocopy to me. That may seem harsh, but quite frankly, this isn't about these parties. This is about the kids. This should have been resolved. It's a problem on Mr. Winchester's part to create this problem where he didn't have this problem at the beginning. He only has this problem after certain steps are completed. Then we have another roadblock. He can go on a cruise with his family, but he can't make this happen for the party's minor children. It's insulting to my client. It's infuriating. It's costing fees that she doesn't have in this case. And all she's trying to do is something nice for their children. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you, Ms. Goheen. Mr. Dower? You're muted. Mr. Dower, you're muted.
We said in court on the 24th, we'd sign the document, and we signed the document, and that's what your order says. We returned it. We don't know about this driver's license requirement until I think Monday or Tuesday of this week. And we have offered alternatives for how to get that information to them so as to not give her the driver's license. And you know, do I hear somewhat counsel saying, sure, she knows his date of birth, she knows his address, the kind of things you'd see on a driver's license, the current driver's license number. I don't know if she knows that. And they can say it's false allegations. My client will tell you, we know she's done it, and we just don't want to have a problem. We're not refusing. We made offers to them to get this information to the passport office. I think we can do it directly to them is what I'm being told. And if that's the case, we'll do that today. The fact that this is even considered an emergency, I mean, I haven't had a chance to look at anything. I was in trial all day yesterday, all day this morning, out of town, just getting back in here. But he has signed the document. He'll get the information to the passport office. I don't know why she waited until last week to send it. I mean, I don't know if this was such a crisis. I would have thought it would have happened earlier, but that's where we are. And He is not refusing. He just doesn't think your order included giving her a copy of his driver's license. I'd ask you not to award fees or sanctions in this matter. He has not willfully refused to comply with your order. He signed it when he got it.
It
And he did it
includes,
in front
the
of the
order
notary.
includes, his client agrees to execute the documents necessary for the petitioner to acquire the passports for the minor children for them to participate in the cruise. So I think that includes any documents necessary to get this done.
Right.
And if I did this, I don't know, a year ago, and I remember sitting in the library, filled out at least 4 different forms that I had to eventually rip apart because I put something in the wrong spot. So I know they're very specific about how they want these. I don't recall what was required regarding the driver's license. But I know we had to provide a driver's license. Of course, we were all there together and it wasn't a mess like this. But if the form requires that he provide a copy of the driver's license, I can't imagine there being any information on there that's going to be used to for nefarious purposes. And if it requires that he provide a copy of that, that needs to be done today, immediately. Yeah. Is this something the copy of the driver's license gets mailed in along with the rest of the application?
You have to attach the driver's license to the application.
All right.
Well,
Perhaps to, just as to calm Mr. Winchester down, perhaps a copy can be retained at Miss Goheen's file without a copy of that being provided to Miss Winchester. Again, I think that's a little, it just needs to get done.
I agree.
He needs to provide that, but if he's got the copies, get those emailed over there immediately. So that was the court's intent. I believe that's involved in executing the documents necessary to get it done.
I'll get a copy of his driver's license.
Front and back.
Yes.
Do you want it to come to me and then
I'll send it to you, Jennifer, and I know you'll do what you're supposed to do with it. I'll do that.
so you want me to just keep it and have her bring the documents here and then
Right.
we'll send it out?
You can shred it afterwards after it gets attached to the copy of the application. We'll just do it that way. Just shred it.
Okay, I'll have her run to my office to bring me the documents so I can have my runner get them out today.
Okay. All right.
I'm gonna order Mr. Winchester pay $500 in fees. I'll hold in abeyance the request for the $200 an hour fee. I just want to make sure this gets done.
I understand, Judge, and I'd ask you to maybe take that under advisement. I mean, they have been going back and forth. She didn't like his suggestions, okay? But he wasn't trying to not get this thing done either. And again, having just walked in here, I could see the exchanges between the two of them going back and forth, trying to figure out how to get it done. I think to assess fees against him at this point in time, I just ask that you take that under advisement. If he doesn't get this thing done here in the next 20 minutes, then certainly you can impose
the $500 fees are being ordered. The fact that we had to show up here to do this shows that there's not cooperation on him to get this done.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Judge.
All right. Anything else?
No, sir.
No, Your Honor.
All right.
After 20 years of marriage, that's where he drew the line? Not over major custody issues or finances, but over a copy of his ID? If pettiness were a profession, he would be Employee of the Month. The judge was over it, slapping him with fines and ordering him to comply immediately. But let's be honest, none of this was about the passport. It was about control. What does it say about someone when they put this much effort into stopping their kids from having a good time? And what else is he making impossible? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more gripping courtroom moments. Thank you for watching. See you in the next one.